on the street of Israel are thousands of bees on the street. Everybody was asking, why is bee all over the street of Israel? A lot of people are saying that this might be a biblical warning for Israel, because Israel represents a land that connotes holiness, that connotes a lot of things, spiritual signs. But the people on the land, did they see it that way? Anyway, let's go watch a couple of videos, and when I come back, we shall continue the conversation, because it looks like truly it might be a spiritual warning for the land of Israel. Credit belongs to original creator of every content. I'll be right back. Don't go nowhere.
They always say warning comes before destruction. And if you know anything about biblical symbolism, bees don't just represent insects. They represent attack, pressure, judgment. And I say that to say this. Why are thousands of bees swarming people in Israel right now? You heard what I just said? I'm not talking about one or two bees. I'm talking about full swarms. Oh, you don't believe me, right? Look at this shit. Y'all don't see all these bees? Tell me what you think about that. Tell me why you think all those bees is there. I need you to turn to Isaiah verse 7:18. And the reason we're going there, because in Isaiah 7:18, it talks about discipline or warning from God. It says, God calls swarms to come against a nation. And we can go down the rabbit holes of older superstitions. So now you're telling me in one of the most spiritually locations on earth, quote unquote, they suddenly have a swarm of bees. Either this is the most random natural event ever, or it's something that we won't understand until it's over. And here's the part that should make you uncomfortable. Historically, swarms has always been seen as warning, just like I told you in the beginning. Not proof, not confirmation, but warnings. Now, I'm not telling you what to believe. I'm telling you what's being seen. But if you think all those bees flying around in that location is a coincidence, then you just believe that. I'm out.
Breaking fuck the news. Here's a clip of tens of thousands of bees swarming in Israel. Stay till the whole clip, and then I got something to say.
תיזהרי, דבורים.
את לא מבינה מה הולך פה. סגרתי את הדלתות. זה רק אצלנו בגולברי בחוץ. קשר לאדווה.
Thoughts and allergies. You know what that is? Let me put this phone down so you can really understand me. That's karma, bitch. Now, it's a small victory. They're bees. It happened in southern city in Israel. You know, it was just one of those little instances that a beehive happened to start striking this parking lot in parts of southern city on balconies and shit. Good. More. Karma's a bitch. That's what happens when you do bad shit and evil shit to people. You know what? Let me not get banned. I'll keep you updated with more. Free Palestine, pussy.
Tens of thousands of bees recently swarmed Israel in what seems to be biblical-style plagues ravaging entire cities. The bees appeared on Wednesday with thousands of insects seen hovering over streets, parked vehicles, shops, and balconies. The series of events occurred coincidentally as Israel announced they are holding the world's biggest Pride Festival at the Dead Sea, a geographical location many believers point out Jesus used as an earthly example of the lake of fire. Others believe this could be judgment for the recent controversy of an IDF soldier smashing a statue of Jesus in southern Lebanon, using the blunt side of an axe on a crucifix at a family shrine. Eerily enough, this ties to the biblical warning in Deuteronomy 144, which describes Israel's enemies pursuing them like a swarm of bees. Then the Amorites who lived in that hill country came out against you and chased you as bees do to beat you down in Seir as far as Hormah. Israel, the country in which God states in the Bible is the apple of his eye, has been for far too long occupied by people who reject Jesus Christ, his son that he sent down to originally witness to that country. And this seems like a biblical warning from heaven to stop playing around with the gospel of Christ.
A biblical disaster of tens of thousands of bees has swept across Israel, forcing residents indoors and leaving entire streets completely overrun. Israeli military aircraft are facing paralysis under the attack of swarming bees. This is being described as the largest bee swarm attack in history. And even more strangely, this may be only the beginning. The incident took place in the southern Israeli city of Netivot. According to local media, the sudden appearance of massive bee swarms swarms in a commercial center caused clear panic among residents. Many shop owners were told to shut their doors and windows immediately, and people nearby were also warned not to approach the areas where the bees were gathering. These bees were not just flying by in small, scattered groups. They pushed into the commercial district on a massive scale, circling in thick clusters and densely covering streets, vehicles, and buildings. From a distance, the whole area looked as if it had been covered by a moving black cloud. Very quickly, two completely different views began spreading online. Some people believed this might simply be a rare but natural phenomenon, one that only seemed so frightening because of its massive scale and the unusual location. But others linked it to a biblical disaster and end-time signs, arguing that this was far from an ordinary bee swarm. Videos of the scene quickly spread across social media, triggering a wave of religious and conspiracy-driven interpretations.
Tens of thousands of bees have started swarming parts of Israel and attacking residents. And something about this feels almost biblical. Something about a first plague and maybe a swarm of locusts. The irony of it all was definitely promised to them 3,000 years ago. But there's actually a more recent story that comes to mind for me when I hear this, and that's the fact that Israel killed one of South Lebanon's most prominent beekeepers on April 5th during its onslaught of South Lebanon. The bees are simply getting their revenge. Earlier this month, Israeli airstrikes killed Maruf Remmel, a man who put his heart and soul into saving the bees of Lebanon. He was one of the most well-known beekeepers of southern Lebanon, a board member of the Beekeepers Union of South Lebanon. The union said his work shaped much of the South's apiary production, and his queen bees were used widely across the beekeepers of South Lebanon. His work was absolutely vital to Lebanon's agriculture. An agricultural system that is actively being poisoned by Israel, by the way. They recently dropped tons of glyphosate on southern Lebanon's crops. His bees supported plant diversity in southern Lebanon, agricultural diversity that Israel is actively seeking to destroy with chemicals and now by killing the beekeepers who help sustain the agricultural sector as a whole. And it's not just him. In June of 2025, Israel killed another beekeeper, Mohammed Abdel Salem Nasrallah. He owned 100 beehives that produced 2,000 pounds of honey a year. And he was killed during the supposed ceasefire with Israel, the ceasefire that they violated over 15,000 times. So the bees that are swarming Israel right now, they're just taking revenge. Revenge for their fallen caretakers.
Man, you can't tell me the Bible ain't real. They just said in Israel, it's like tens of thousands of bees swarming in the south part of Israel right now, telling people to stay inside their houses, right, take caution and all that. Now, the reason I bring that up is because that just reminds me of the Bible, right? That reminds me of the time of Egypt and Pharaoh, right, when God sent the plagues up on Egypt to judge them. And I want to read that in Exodus chapter 10 and verse 12. And this is when God was talking to Moses, and he said, and the Lord said to Moses, stretch out your hand over Egypt so that the locusts swarm over the land and devour everything growing in the fields, everything left by the hail. Now, could this be God judging Israel? I'm not saying that. Could that be the case? It could be the case, right? A lot of wars going on, and we know eventually God is going to judge that land because that is the synagogue of Satan over there in the land, right? And we know that they are not the real Jews, right? That's, Revelation chapter 2 and verse 9. But again, you see all these bees swarming in that land, just like the locusts were swarming in the land of Egypt. Now, am I saying it's going to get that worse? No, I'm not saying that. But could it get worse? It could. It could be, this could be the plagues or the judgment that God is putting up on that land for a lot of blood they're shedding right now. The wars they're getting into, obviously a lot of wickedness that goes on in that land. So again, when I think of the bees swarming right now in Israel, it just makes me think of the locusts that were swarming in Egypt during that time when God put the plagues on them. So only thing we can do is watch and see, and and at the end of the day, God's gonna judge, the wicked, and So again, we know that that's not the real Jews over in that land, and there won't be no peace in that land until the real Jews are in that land. God bless y'all.
I just heard about what happened in Israel. Wow. Have you guys seen this? This just happened today. There were tens of thousands of bees that have suddenly swarmed all these different parts of Israel. Bro, if this ain't biblical, I don't know what is, because I'm gonna be honest. Do you guys realize what this means? Because I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't go all out.
This news is going to blow your mind. What you're looking at here is a group of bees. A group of bees have attacked Tel Aviv, southern Israel, in thousands. In thousands, a group of bees are attacking residents in eastern Israel, in Tel Aviv. Okay, the news also coming out is that the group of bees are now being called this thing, Hamas. They said the bees are Hamas, and their action is anti-Semitic as a result. And also the bees are being accused of being terrorists as well. So as a result of it, Israel's government have decided to bomb the whole bees to the ground, including the Hamasis of the bees. Yes, that is the news that is coming. This is insane. This is insane. Like, in Israel, there's no chill there. Always on the action, always on anxious, always on the edge. That is why most of them can take pew and use pew, because they are always on the edge. Why would anybody want to live on the edge? It makes no sense. Even the bees, bro. Even the bees doesn't want you there. But hey, let me know what you guys think about this on the comment section.
If you seen this outside your house, you was not coming outside. Look at this shit. Thousands of bees took over parts of Israel, y'all. Now, I don't know why this is happening, but I know this shit don't look normal. Could this be the signs of the time? Because you already know Israel got a lot of shit going on right now with them. When this was happening, people was told to stay inside for obvious reasons. Because I wouldn't be out there. I swear, this is like a warning sign. You don't get warnings like this for no reason. And look how it was on this car, fool. They just bundled up like that. That shit look crazy. Make me think about Candyman. So they was downplaying everything. Like, oh, it's just a swarm. But this shit don't usually happen like this. Not all at once. The whole sky was covered in bees. Bees only move like that when something disturbing them. So you gotta ask the question, what was disturbing them to make them do this? And out of all places, Israel. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about this down below in the comments.
Wow, guys, what do you think about this? A lot of people were saying that the time of judgment has come. And the question is, what kind of judgment? What was done? What was the offense? A lot of people were saying that, like the river that was shown there, where was significant to some of the things that Jesus did. And they are saying that Israel has made it like a ridicule. The river has become non-effective, non-significant, and a lot of stuff were done by the military, blah blah blah. I don't want to go into the details of that anyway. And they are saying that it is a land that is historical to the biblical signs and wonders that were done in the era of Jesus. So people are saying that when bees come, it simply means that something has gone wrong. It simply means that there is a judgment that's been passed, and bee coming to tell people to get inside, get shut inside, and they're trying to just take over the whole city. I'm sure you remember the account of Egypt, Noah, Moses with the Egyptians, when plagues were coming on them, different plagues, and people are they're liking what is happening in Israel right now with what happened in Egypt, like a plague kind of, when an offense has been committed, when someone has trespassed, when a blasphemy has been committed by a people or a group of people or a country, and that a group of bees in thousands, hundreds of thousands, came into the street, and everybody ran away, stayed indoor, and they had to systematically put it out. But what is amazing is the fact that Black Americans are saying that this is not unusual. This is not unusual, that this is very, very spiritual, and that it might be a spiritual warning for Israel, who happen to not even recognize a landmark. Are you with me? So a lot of people, a lot of Americans are saying that Israel need to pay attention to the signs, and
they need to retrace their step. They need to retrace what was done, how it was done, and what shouldn't be done that was done. A lot of rhetoric, a lot of views and dimensions. And of course, there's another one that says that a man was unalive in Lebanon who happened to be one of the keepers of bee in Lebanon. And the guy was saying that maybe the bees are trying to, avenge the death of their owner. Maybe. But a lot of, back and forth stories, dimensions. But guys, what do you think about this? Could it mean that truly spiritual warnings is being given to Israel? Or could it mean that maybe the beekeepers, that was one of the beekeepers that was unalive, maybe the bees are saying, we want to avenge the death of our owner? Well, guys, I want you to give me your view. What do you think? Is it spiritual? Is it a warning? Is it a biblical warning? Let the conversation continue in the comment section. I want to hear from you guys what you think about this scenario that happened in Israel. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, like, and share if you love this great content. And do me a favor, hype this video, let it go around. Let people be aware that there's still spiritual connotations or biblical connotations that are still existing in this time and age. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.